Hello everyone. Now we are again here with the chapter Why Do We Fall Ill, and today our topic will be infectious and non-infectious diseases. But there's a reminder, do watch out for the previous videos to maintain the continuity of the lesson, right? So next now we start infectious diseases, right? First we will discuss this. What are infectious diseases? And once we understand what are infectious diseases, automatically we'll come to know what are non-infectious diseases. Rather, it will be easy to understand that, right? So as the word says, infectious means these diseases are caused by the infection of the pathogens, by the infections of the pathogens, and where the infection is inside the host body, inside the body of the host. And here comes the two terms. What is the meaning of pathogen and what is a host? Now, pathogens are nothing but they are the disease causing organisms. Disease causing organisms, and these organisms are generally, these pathogens, here I'll put an arrow, disease causing organisms, and they are microbes. Microbes, you understand? Microorganisms, and they can be worms also. So these microbes or the worms, not exactly the worms, the larvae of the worms. Larvae are the small eggs or another state of the eggs which enter the body of the host. When they enter the body of the host, what happens there? There they live there inside the body of the host, they multiply, and they also use the food, rather digested food of the host, and hence they make the host sick. वो host को बीमार कर देते हैं. So these microbes and worms, they affect the body of the host badly, make the host weak, sick, ill, and that's what a disease is. Now, microbes. How many types of microbes you have heard of? Microbes can be bacterial. Bacteria are also the microbes. Next, we have the viruses. All of you know what the viruses are now. COVID-19 is an example of a viral disease. And next, we have another kind of microbe, which we call protozoa. So such microbes are known as protozoans. And microbes are also the fungi. Fungi, they are microscopic also, and they are multicellular also. Then we have the worms, right? They are also one of the pathogens. Now let's see what are now factors of this infectious diseases. Let's come to this point. These factors generally, they are outside the body. Outside the body, and such kind of factors, we call them extrinsic factors. As the word says, extrinsic factors. Extrinsic factors means present outside the body. That is due to the environment. Due to the environment, how they enter the body, right? For example, if we take air, many microbes enter the body of the host through air. All of you know this COVID virus, the virus of the COVID-19, it enters through the air and through the food also. So because of the air and because of the contaminated food, rather contaminated hands, also these viruses or even bacteria, they enter our body through air and even through water. Many bacteria, they enter through the water into our body, and many bacteria also enter through the food. Actually, we should call it as through contaminated water. Contaminated means the infected water. Contaminated water, contaminated food means that kind of water, that kind of food in which the microbes are present, and they enter the body of the host, and hence the person will be infected. So we can say the factors are external. And even in the water and food, there are also the larvae of many worms. So because directly worms, no one is going to intake through food or water. These worms enter in the form of larvae. So extrinsic factors are there for these kind of diseases. And when these disease, they spread from these, you can say, these disease spread through water, through air, through food, or even by touch, and it can also enter the body through the vectors. We will be discussing what actually the vectors are in the coming video. So when these diseases, they spread from a sick person to a healthy person, so that's why these diseases are known as infectious diseases. We also call these diseases as communicable diseases because they can be transferred from a sick person to a healthy person via air, via water, via food, via touch, or by any other vectors. That's it. I'll give you a few examples of infectious diseases also, because the diseases like typhoid. Then we can take the example of malaria. Then we can take the example of rabies. And then we can also take the example of cholera. These all diseases, they are transferred from a sick person to healthy person through all these factors. So these were the examples of communicable disease. Now coming to non-infectious diseases. As the name indicates, that these diseases are not caused due to the infection of pathogens, because the factors for these diseases are intrinsic. Intrinsic factors means they are not present outside the body. The body inside is responsible for this. How? See, let us see first example of non-infectious diseases like cancer. Cancer cannot be caused by any pathogen. Cancer is not caused by any worm. And cancer, once a patient is infected with cancer disease, this cancer is non-transferable. It is non-communicable. It cannot be transferred from a sick person to healthy person. Right? So cancer is a non-infectious disease. And next you can say that heart attack. Any kind of heart disease or heart attack, that is also caused due to the lifestyle. Person may be having a lack of exercise, or maybe the wrong eating habits, or maybe any other factor, maybe genetic factor from the parents. There is a blockage in some arteries, and ultimately the patient gets infected. So the patient gets this disease. So this heart attack, cause of this heart attack is the internal factor, not the external factor. And similar, it can also not be communicated from a person who is having heart attack to another person. So it's a non-infectious and non-communicable disease. Even any kind of accident, any kind of wound, or any other kind of disease, like you can name it as a diabetes. Diabetes cannot be transferred from a sick person to a healthy person. Causes may be different, maybe genetic, or maybe a lifestyle disease. So that was about the non-infectious diseases. Now wait for the next video. So we will discuss it in detail, that what type of microbes causes what type of diseases and how they are spread or transmitted. So keep watching and happy learning. Thank you.